Coming up on Network Africa. Angola extends voting in 3 provinces despite polls closing on Wednesday evening. Eight former African leaders are in Johannesburg, South Africa for the 2017 African Leadership Forum. And the UN reports significant increase in the number of children used as human bombs by Boko Haram militants. Hello everyone, I'm Joke Rogers. We begin with a health scare in Uganda as the health ministry says 2 people have died from a hemorrhagic fever, better known as Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. It says 2 positive blood tests for the potentially deadly disease were identified from 2 different hospitals in Uganda's central region. The disease is found in animals that can infect humans. Outbreaks are usually linked to contact with blood or body fluids from infected animals or people. It begins suddenly with initial symptoms including high fever, joint pain, stomach pain, and vomiting. Red eyes, a flushed face, and red spots on the throat are also common. Patients can also develop large areas of severe bruising, severe nosebleed, and uncontrolled bleeding from other parts of the body. The move to cut salaries of the newly elected Kenyan MPs have been met with opposition by the members of parliament. This push is likely to put the legislators on a collision path with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Homa Bay woman representative-elect Gladys Wanga has accused the Salaries and Remuneration Commission of unfairly targeting MPs. In June, the SRC said the cut was part of a plan to reduce Kenya's public sector wages by 35%. President Kenyatta has publicly backed the proposal. The plan is to cut the basic monthly salaries from $6,900 to $6,000. Allowances will also be cut, and the $48,000 car grant will be totally removed. Here in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has signed instruments of ratification for a number of bilateral agreements to strengthen the government's anti-corruption fight. The agreement signed by the president covers anti-corruption, tax administration, and intellectual property protection. The 4 signed agreements with the United Arab Emirates include an agreement on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, agreement on mutual legal assistance in civil and commercial matters, agreement on the transfer of sentenced persons, and on extradition treaty. President Buhari also signed other instruments of ratification on a charter for the Lake Chad Basin between Nigeria, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Libya, Niger, and the Republic of Chad, African Tax Administration Forum Agreement on mutual assistance in tax matters, and World Intellectual Property Organization performances and phonograms treaty. The president hopes that the agreements will reinvigorate the anti-corruption war, check illicit flow of funds, and improve national security. Members of the Federal Executive Council and the Diplomatic Corps witnessed the signing of the treaties.
It is my hope that these instruments, which are signed today, will reinvigorate the anti-corruption war and check the illicit flow of funds out of our country to other jurisdictions, improve national security, food security, boost our economic and tax regimes, and improve the overall well-being of our creative community. All agencies of government with roles to play under the respective treaties now ratified are hereby directed to ensure that they play their anticipated roles in an effective and responsible manner in order to ensure that we reap the full benefit of these agreements.
Meanwhile, Nigeria has donated 315 tons of relief materials worth $1 million to Sierra Leone after a mudslide that claimed 400 lives and displaced over 3,000 people. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, made the presentation to his Sierra Leonean counterpart, Samura Koroma, in Freetown. Mr. Onyema explains that the gesture is Nigeria's way of showing solidarity with her West African neighbor after the disaster.
This is what is left in Regent area of Freetown after severe flooding and a mudslide that claimed more than 400 people, including children. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyema, led the Nigerian delegation to some of the sites of the devastation. His Sierra Leonean counterpart, Mr. Samura Koroma, shows him around.
We are not being able to first have quite a good number of properties lost, but it's huge. It's well over 800 properties were here. We have Statistics Sierra Leone that is helping us, and then Office of National Security is also giving us some estimates. But in terms of lives, we have quite a number of well over 8,000 displaced persons. We have well over 400. Close to 400 deaths, including men and women and children.
In playing her role as a leader of the African continent, Nigeria donates relief materials to victims of the disaster.
We are flying in almost constantly large quantities of supply, of food supplies, of medical supplies, and also a cash donation of $1 million. As you can see, this is one of our big transport planes, and it has done already 4 sorties, and normally it will be doing another 16 sorties, carrying about 315 metric tons of food and medicines.
August 14, 2017 is one day that many residents of the affected communities will not forget. Over 8,000 persons have been displaced, 600 people are still missing, while more than 400 have been confirmed dead.